Jamie Green, 4 minutes, please.
Presiding Officer, much of the political conversation, not just this afternoon, but in recent days, weeks and months, and more so in Scotland, is centred around the premise that Parliament and the people are at odds one with another. Claims that never before has there been such a disconnect between the will of the people and the will of politicians. And some claim, as the motion and its amendments today suggest, that this Parliament's voice is not being listened to. But how can it be, Presiding Officer, that 38% of the people outside of this Parliament voted to leave the EU, but less than 5% of the members within this Parliament, at least publicly, admit to agreeing with them? Can we honestly say that this place is truly representative of the people it claims to serve? No, I was elected, let me make some progress, I've got a lot to say on this subject. I was elected to this Parliament just under 3 years ago, and 1 month before the EU referendum delivered the result of the British people. And it was an interesting time to be elected to a Parliament. But at no point did I think we would be having a debate in this place where every political party in this chamber, except for on these benches behind me, is willing to put their name to a motion which seeks to overturn the result of a referendum in which 1 million Scots agreed with the final outcome. In my short time as an MSP, I sit here on a daily basis and listen to debate after debate from these benches, which deliberately and willingly try not just to brush aside, but disrespect the results of 2 referenda that this country has faced. 2 historic referenda, 2 referenda with high turnouts, with significant public engagement, brushed aside because MSPs think that they know better. Mr Harvey, please tell me why.
Patrick Harvey.
I'm very grateful to the member for giving why, and I hear the passion with which he says that the 38% in Scotland who voted for leave should not be ignored. Why on earth should the 62% who voted remain be ignored, or indeed the 48% across the whole of the UK who have been so comprehensively ignored by the UK government, taking this process to the extreme?
Jamie Green.
Perhaps Mr Harvey can answer this question. Why does he choose to ignore the 55% of Scotland who want to remain in the UK? Please tell me that. That's the real question that I haven't heard an answer to. On a note of consent, though, Mr Harvey's motion begins with these words. It commends the more than 5 million signatories to the UK Parliament petition to revoke Article 50. And perhaps surprisingly to some, I commend them too. Just as I commend those who marched in London. Many of them I consider my friends. Now, I don't agree with them, but it gives me pride that we live in a society which allows for that demonstration. But do not forget, for every 1 person who signed that petition, there are 3 who didn't, but voted to leave the EU. Online petitions and street marches do not make for constitutional change. If you go to the public and ask for a decision, you must respect that decision. I've got very little time. The Scottish Greens put out a tweet today earlier saying that the Tories are very upset about today's motion. And do you know what? They are. Because I'm upset that this Parliament wants to pass a motion that has no respect for the 43% of voters in North Ayrshire who voted to leave, or the 55% in Angus, or the 49.9% in Murray. So I challenge constituency members, when you go back to your constituencies on Friday, you tell them, those people who voted to remain in the UK and who voted to leave the EU, why you sought to revoke that message. And I don't think the SNP has given full thought to the consequences. It's a fundamental error of judgment on their part. They're setting a very dangerous precedent too. If one referendum goes the way that you don't want it to, you simply call it again. If you think people have changed their minds, you call it again. If the divorce is too painful or difficult, you call it again. I know for a fact if the tables were turned and we were coming forward with plans to overturn the result of an independence referendum, the SNP would be in uproar over our demands to deny the will of the people. The hypocrisy knows no ends from these benches. Presiding Officer, we will reject,
Mr Harvey,
this motion quite simply because there is only 1 party in this Parliament which respects the outcome of both the referendum this country has voted on. That party sits on these benches.
Fiona Hislop.